Almost every helpful AI assistant is shaped by a reward model, a model trained to predict what people prefer. It's the quiet machinery behind RLHF, and interviewers love it because it's where good intentions quietly go wrong. Understand what that reward really is, and its failure modes stop being mysterious. So let's start with how you even build one from human judgments. Say you can't ask people for absolute quality scores, only which of two answers they prefer. How do you turn those comparisons into a model that can score a brand new response? Take about 10 seconds to think.
You collect comparisons, show two responses to the same prompt, and have a rater pick the better one. Then you train a reward model that assigns each response a single scalar score, with one rule: the preferred response should score higher than the rejected one. Concretely, you turn the gap between two scores into a probability that a human prefers the first, and you tune the model so the preferences it predicts match the choices people actually made. Once trained, it can score a brand new response on that same scale. So it's learning a relative ordering of responses consistent with human preference, not an absolute ground truth measure of quality.
Let's pin down what you just built. What does that reward number actually represent? And just as important, what does it not represent? Take a moment before you answer.
It's a learned proxy for what the raters on average preferred over the specific distribution of prompts and answers it saw. The scale is relative and uncalibrated. A higher number means more likely preferred, not some fraction correct. And it bundles everything that drove those preferences. Correctness, yes, but also tone, length, confidence, and formatting. What it does not represent is ground truth. It has no independent access to whether an answer is right. It only knows what looked good to raters. So the reward is exactly as trustworthy as the preference data behind it. If the raters were rushed, biased, or under-instructed, the model faithfully learns those biases and hands them back to you as a score.
You leaned on comparisons rather than scores. Why is that? Why not just ask raters to grade each answer, say 7 out of 10? Take 10 seconds here.
Because people are unreliable at absolute scores, but good at comparisons. Ask someone to grade an answer 7 out of 10, and the number drifts. It depends on their mood, what they just saw, where they mentally anchor. Two raters rarely land on the same absolute value. But ask which of two answers is better, and they're far more consistent. So comparisons give you a lower variance, more reliable signal. And it's all the model needs. To shape behavior, you only need an ordering, which response is preferred, not a calibrated grade. You trade a little information per label for a lot less noise, and that's usually the right deal.
Now a symptom from the field. Your reward model scores fluent, confident, but wrong answers highly. What does that reveal, and how would you check it? Take a moment to diagnose it.
It reveals the reward model latched onto surface features that happen to correlate with preference, fluency, confidence, length, instead of correctness. If raters often rewarded answers that sounded authoritative, the model learned sounds right rather than is right. To check, I build a targeted set where I know the truth, pairs of a correct but plain answer versus a wrong but polished one, and see which the model prefers. If it favors the confident wrong ones, the bias is confirmed. I'd also slice scores by length and style to see whether longer or flashier always wins. And revisit the rater instructions and their agreement. Often the fix is in the data, not the model. The point is to stress test the reward against ground truth it never saw.
Take it one step further. Suppose you optimize a policy against this flawed reward model anyway. What happens, and what do you do about it? Take 10 seconds to weigh it.
You get reward hacking. The policy is a relentless optimizer, so it finds whatever the reward model overvalues and leans on it. Answers get longer, more confident, more flattering, while real quality, flat lines or drops. The reward keeps climbing, which is exactly what makes it dangerous. So I'd never optimize the proxy blindly. I'd keep a KL penalty that holds the policy close to the reference model, so it can't drift into strange high-reward regions the model never validated. I'd hold out an independent quality check, ideally with a correctness signal, and watch the gap between reward and that check. When they diverge, stop, and I'd keep improving the data and the reward model. The mindset? The reward is a proxy. Monitor the thing you actually care about.
So, stepping back. A reward model turns human comparisons into a score, but that score is a proxy. It learns what raters preferred, fluency and all, not the truth. Optimize it too hard, and the policy games it. The discipline is easy to say and easy to forget. Trust the reward only as far as your preference data is good, and always watch the quality you actually care about. If this kind of prep helps, like this episode, share it with someone who's interviewing, and subscribe to Interview on Your Way. More and better questions are on the way.